Okay, so I killed the microphone, sorry. I think we can start now. Okay, so good afternoon, everybody here on Saturday in this room. We are very delighted to guide you through this session and of the global initiative of safety, health and well-being here at EXPO 2025. My name is Andrea Weimar, and I serve as the Secretary General for the Machine and System Safety Section. And together with Jennifer Papantuonio, my colleague from the ISSA Electricity Session, we are delighted to guide you through the next 90 minutes dedicated to the theme Navigating Workplace Safety in the Digital Age. The session is jointly organized by our two mentioned sections, Machine and System Safety and Safety Electricity. The prevention sections of the International Social Security Association serve as platforms for the exchange of knowledge and best practices in occupational safety and health in different sectors. To sum it up, our aim is to pool knowledge, learn from each other, and to develop perspectives. This is what the ISSA is committed to, and this is what we want to realize today in this section. And if you are interested in joining us, please talk to us and to the other sections, read our flyers, and we will be very delighted if you join our network. And I hand over to Jennifer.
Thank you, Andrea, for this introduction. In a time where automation, artificial intelligence, and immersive technologies are reshaping how we work, it is more important than ever that workplace safety evolves in parallel. So let me quickly outline what we have in store for you today. Today we will hear from 4 outstanding speakers who will share their perspectives and experience at the intersection of safety and digitalization. So you will gain insight into how smart manufacturing and immersive learning are transforming safety practices in various industries and why industrial security should be a key concern. We will conclude this session with a roundtable where our experts will reflect on the future of workplace safety in the digital era. If you have any questions for our speakers, then you're welcome to ask them during the roundtable or to have a one-on-one discussion with them during the break. So let's begin by exploring the world of smart manufacturing. Our first speaker, Otto Görnemann, is an internationally recognized expert for machine safety, industrial safety standards and regulations at SICK AG in Waldkirch, Germany. Oh, yeah, I should switch. Yeah, sorry. He's the current chairman of the Technical Committee for Machine Safety of the International Organization for Standardization and of the Technical Committee for Machine Safety of the European Committee for Standardization. He's also a member of several technical committees related to industrial and service robotics, driverless trucks, tooling, and packaging machinery. Please welcome Otto Görnemann.
So, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I will try not to make too much initiation works. Thank you for the very nice presentation, and we'll come directly into the topic. So, well, it's a Saturday afternoon. I understand, and it's also very hot. Nevertheless, I think I can bring some interesting points to you. We're trying to talk about smart manufacturing, and smart manufacturing is a word that has been misused a lot of years. What is smart manufacturing? What means to be smart? To use our resources the best we can with a goal, and the goal will be to not always improve safety, but also to improve the economy, the productivity of our industrial work. We have a lot of developments in technology, significant changes in the working environment. We have the massive application of computing in industrial automation. Just remember, your iPhone, your mobile phone has much more computing capability than the computer that was installed on the Apollo 11 when they landed up on the moon. Much more. We have power drive systems with a high reliability, with high dynamics. If you're sitting in one of the metro trains of this wonderful city of Osaka, you will find out that modern trains are much smoother, can move much faster, can accelerate and decelerate with very, very good ratings. We have sensor developments, we have affordable lidars, we have radar systems, we have vision-based protective devices which are coming in the market and will help us to improve the safety of machinery. A very good example you can see at the stand of the GISHW when you see the saw which is using artificial intelligence and vision enhancement in order to be able to detect hands of an operator when it nears the saw blade. We have the consistent application of functional safety. We now use functional safety for improving our machinery. And smart manufacturing means we can embrace all these technologies, we can connect them and make the best use of our resources and the information. But not only in the industrial environment, also in agriculture, in mining, in forestry, in fishing, we can make use of this very, very increasing number of information and data to make our work environment safer. Which are the challenging things that are coming to us? We have a high degree of complexity. We come from a single machine, the old world of the 70s, 80s, and 90s, into machine systems. We have a very strong connection in the future between the machines and the surrounding infrastructure. It's not that our AGV will move alone in a factory. It will move also based on information that he is receiving from sensors installed in the factory infrastructure itself, detecting persons, detecting hotspots, detecting gates or doors that are open or closed, and so on. Uncertainty of the machine and machine systems behavior. That means if we have autonomous machine which takes decisions and acts according to these decisions, this increases the uncertainty, and therefore we have to be aware that this also will create some stress for the workers which are around of these machines. So what we see is that we have new risk, no new hazards. When we're talking, by example, about a couple of years ago, nanoparticles. Oh, there was a big hype of nanoparticles, and everybody was concerned about nanoparticles. They wanted to have this as a new risk. No, this is a risk of hazardous substances. Where the hazard is coming from the substance, it might be a chemical, it might be some radiation hazard, or even a structural hazard as the shape and form of such nanoparticles. We have also a lot of difficulties in the verification of compliance with technical standards, with occupational safety and health laws and regulations. We have an increased number and increased depth of those regulations worldwide. And this makes for many of the actors, of the economic actors, makes it very, very difficult to comply with those requirements. And we have at the same time the same difficulties when we come to the verification of compliance with product regulations, market regulations. So I want to talk about a couple of topics, very short, and just simply introducing them, not going into the deep. Reliable control systems. We have really a success in application of standards for functional safety. If you talk about ISO 13849, IEC 62005, or 62061, these are the standards which are used worldwide to design control systems that are reliable and that prevent the appearance of hazardous situations in machinery, or even improve the reliability of our risk reduction measures. Then we have the collaborative approach, the more interaction of machines with humans or humans with machines. We try to understand better the workplace, so we have improving the safety-related sensing and the interconnection between those sensors. This leading to what we really want to call the smart manufacturing. I don't like the term Industry 4.0, but that means that our smart manufacturing must really think about the question if we have everything under control. The application of AI, well, we are fearing always the unknown. That's why we survive. But this is the thing that we have to master. We have to decide if we will, if we want, if we can use AI in the future. And all this is not possible if we don't think about the challenge of cybersecurity. Please be careful. Now our data doors and gates and windows are open. We exchange, we allow access to our control systems to improve this safety and productivity. But this does not come without a price. Functional safety approach. Control systems, they provide, beside of purely operational functions, the functions that are allowing us to reduce the risk or are preventing the machine to come into or to go into a risky situation. Functional safety has shifted since 2006 when we produced and published the first really applicable functional safety standards for machinery, were ISO 13849 and IEC 62461. Since now, functional safety has been embraced by industry, and this has led to much higher improvement in the reliability of safety functions and control functions. We mix the probabilistic approach with the deterministic approach, and we are really successful in this. Now we can design control systems which are not only according to international standards, but to be according to the international standards, make them suitable and help the machine manufacturers and the control systems designers to prove that their systems are reliable, which is a very important thing. Functional safety standards, they will consider the reliability of hardware components, the behavior in case of fault, the characteristics and designs of error-free software, susceptibility to external influence, common cause failures, the ability to detect faults, and the appropriate design process, the so-called functional safety management. And all these things together gave us many, many ways to solve safety-related control functions in a way that we can reduce the risk as required. The collaborative approach is not a new approach. Since 2011 in robotics, the ISO TS 15066 was presented as the first standard which was dealing with the intentional operation of a machine in the same space at the same time with a human. The idea was to combine the skills of the machine, the skills of the human, the capabilities of the human in production applications, which otherwise will need very, very much complex, expensive, and even more dangerous machines. Collaborative applications can solve very, very nicely the possible challenges for production in the future. But they must be designed according to the basic safety principles. This will also allow us to humanize the workplace and also to tackle the challenge of the aging society. 3 years ago, everybody was talking about the aging society. We have the aging society now here. And this is a way to solve the problems. Perhaps not the key, of course, but there's a way to solve it. We have to do it in the right way. First steps have been done in the industrial robots area with what is called collaborative applications. We don't talk anymore about collaborative robots. There's a word that we don't want to hear anymore. It's about collaborative applications. And even they can be done without so-called collaborative robots. These are based in this allowance of the contacts between the robot and the human, as long as those contacts are harmless. And there is the key question. when it's harmless and when it's harmful. The values that we know at the moment are derived from only 2 published scientific studies. This is not enough. We need more data. The lack of knowledge, the uncertainty is very, very large. We are expecting the robotic colleague. That means we want to have the safe collaboration at any time. We don't want to have the physical separation, and we don't want to introduce risks which are related to an unexpected or unintended behavior of the robot, of the machine. So the human operator is expecting a machine, a robot, which behaves like a reasonable human colleague, like the guy that he's working since many years side by side. So this uncertainty is not only directly linked to the degree of autonomy. More degree of autonomy, more uncertainty in possible actions of the machine, of the robot, but also when we have a very complex program. So it doesn't mean that we need to perhaps to have a very high degree of autonomy in an application. When the application itself is very, very complicated, then we are perhaps stressing too much, expecting too much from the human worker that shall work together with this robot or this machine. So we have also to think about that if we apply AI in future for controlling such machines or for having different degrees of autonomy, we will also introduce a higher stress factor to our workers. We don't have enough data. We have only 2 studies. So most operations have been used, or most robotic applications in collaborative uses are using power and force limiting. Power and force limiting has a problem. We build machines because we are lazy. We don't want to work. We humans are lazy. So we have machines that do the hard and repetitive and fast work. And this can only be done with energy. And energy transfer from the machine to the human may be dangerous. It is the cause of the hazards. So we need to solve 3 major problems. First of all, to prevent any contact with head or face or neck, since we cannot apply limit values to these body regions. You may apply 50 newtons to the skull, it may work, but 50 newtons to the eye, that's when it gets problematic. We have to consider other hazards, since the values that we know here are only applicable for crushing and impact hazards. They are not related to shearing, to cutting, to stabbing, and all other things that may occur from the single point of the mechanical hazards. And we need some applications. In some applications, we need higher forces, higher torques that can not be applied when we use power and force limiting. And therefore, we have to do more research. We need more research. We need a standard that explains how to measure such values in different situations so we can apply these values in the future machinery. More than safeguarding, only reasonable limits. So in the most of the applications, the criteria that we have seen before, the values they have seen before, cannot be applied. So power and force limiting is good, but we will need in future additional safeguarding in most cases. By example, by monitoring the scene, allowing higher speeds and accelerations when the contact is not imminent, when the person is far away from the hazard point. Also controlling the speed and acceleration to ensure stopping in time. This is a new development in the robotics area. Manufacturers of robots are really programming the robot operating systems in such a way that they control the speed, the acceleration, such that the robot is always able to stop in a certain time and not to move above a certain range limit. Detecting imminent contacts and preventing those when they may become hazardous, and also preventing the contacts where injuries are related to other hazards. At the moment, as I said before, we are only taking into account crushing and not taking into account things like shearing and stabbing. And at the end, very important, always preventing contacts with head and face. Making those negligible is really, in my opinion, not possible, because the wide range of possible forces that applied to the face and the head area may lead to a hazardous situation and to an injury. So what we can do is to add things to our systems. What we can do is, by example, to add sensors at the end effector of such a robot, such that when a human approaches to the robot can reliably stop, but still working in a collaborative way. So, the future of safeguarding is safety-related sensing, is making things more certain. So, the idea is to tame the autonomy of the machines, having more reliable sensors that provide an accurate scene information for the control system, so we can trigger the proper reaction of the machine. Classic safety devices, which were always intended only to stop the machine, are now being transformed into systems that combine the informations that we get from all other sensors, all other information sources, to ensure a safe machine behavior. And, well, the idea is that at the end of the day, the machine operation will adapt to the circumstances. Not the man shall adapt to the machine shall adapt to the circumstances and to the behavior of the persons around. And the intention is also to reduce the number of safety-induced stoppages. We, as a manufacturer of safety devices, we don't want the machines to get stopped. We want that the machine runs, because it's the way our customers earn their money. So the idea is to have a good productivity with the best possible safety. The limitation of the force and the pressure will only provide the secondary risk reduction. It's a dead end. Alone, it will not be enough. Safety sensing was developed in the late 50s. Then, from the technical point of view, this is very well understood, well proven. We have already international standards since 1995 for all kinds of electrosensitive protective equipment, for laser scanners, for light curtains, for vision-based protective devices, so-called safety cameras, even for radar-based protective devices, we are developing a new standard. And for the application of these devices, we have already application standards on IEC. We have also on ISO a series for pressure-sensitive protective equipment, as well as in IEC for devices with intended behavior in the case of failure. But we have a new standard, which is ISO TS62998. It's a solid base for the future. It's safety-related sensors used for the protection of persons. So the idea is here to develop a standard that allows us to integrate different sensors with different physical properties. This may include detection of persons, detection of machines, parts of the machine's environment, and with this to develop systems which combine the sensors and provide the safety functions which are sufficiently reliable to protect persons. With this approach, we want to classify safety-related sensor systems in different clusters, in different areas, which are more or less corresponding to the performance levels of ISO 13849 or to the SIL of IEC 61508. This document is under revision to be developed as an international standard. The last 3 years we have used it as a TS, a technical specification. It's now under revision, and I hope that this standard will be used massively in future in machinery industry to provide this risk reduction with control systems. So, at the end, safe manufacturing is the combination of advanced machinery, on-demand manufacturing, mobile robotics, autonomous machinery, with flexible logistic systems, loading stations, industrial trucks that are driverless, human-machine interaction allowing us to make more human loading and unloading stations, collaborative robots applications, and of course, if we want to use this, we have to create this in a network. And for this, we have to think about the availability of such a network and, of course, the cybersecurity issues. And no smart manufacturing is possible without eliminating or controlling these risks. So you may change your vision from the machine, which is safe, which has its own safety devices mounted to the machine, to the machine, which is integrated with other machines and is exchanging information with these other machines and with the environment, and then knows what is happening, and it reduces the risk for the workers as low as possible. Finally, we have to think about AI on safeguarding. So AI can be very, very useful for the automation of protective equipment. Nevertheless, we have to think about how we can produce a reliable, or how we can test if AI is a reliable software. The outcome decision must be trustworthy, and at the moment we don't have any metrics for this trustworthy of such functions. The outcome decision of an AI function must be at least so safe or so reliable as the systems that we are using in industry nowadays. And finally, we fear the unknown. That's we survived. So we can apply AI. AI shall not result in the machine operating outside the specific limits which are used as starting points for the risk assessment. So if the AI will bring the machine outside of these limits, we will not be able to use AI. It's very, very clear. We have then to limit the functions with classic technology. With technology, we can reliably measure their functionality. Otherwise, it will be not possible to use AI. We cannot bring into the market, we cannot bring into the workplace a machine which has an autonomous system which we cannot foresee how it will behave. For such machines, we have always to think in the terms of the risk reduction of ISO 12100, which requires the application of limiting devices, of safeguarding devices, when risk cannot be reduced by inherent safety design. Last but not least, the challenge of cybersecurity. We have complex networking, we have different layers, partners, increasing numbers of access points for criminals. We have already a lot of cyber attacks, which are leading to collateral damages, loss of safety functions, wrong parameterization of machines. Direct cyber attacks that induce accidents are not expected, but they are possible. And we have to apply measures. And we cannot apply measures at only one level. We have to apply these measures at all the three levels: at the component level, the manufacturer of a component; at the machine manufacturer's level, the integration level; and at the machine user's level. It makes no sense if a component is very, very well protected, if a machine is very well protected, but the network of the user is open like a garden. Nevertheless, we have to think about this, have to identify the threats, we have to protect against these threats, we have to detect attacks, we have to be able to respond to attacks, and when those attacks leads to a problem, leads to a hazard, then we have to be able to recover. But this is not my specific area, and I think I have a fantastic speaker that will follow me that will explain this much more better. Thank you very much for your time, and have an outlook. Rapid developments of technology shall not reduce the expected safety. Workers expect safe machines, independently which technology is used. Machines and production lines will develop into systems. This is the future. We cannot stop it. New technologies are therefore helpful, but required for the future. A new safeguarding approach will improve safety and productivity. So, don't forget our cybersecurity risks. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Otto, for these important insights and for this comprehensive overview of the different technologies involved in smart manufacturing and related chances and challenges. Now we go to Lisa. We turn to the exciting field of immersive learning. Technologies like virtual and augmented reality are not just for gaming or entertainment. They are becoming powerful tools for safety training. We want to welcome our next speaker, Lisa McGuire, CEO of Galaxy Edge Safety. Lisa is a visionary leader in occupational health and safety with over 17 years of experience. She founded the Manufacturing Safety Alliance of British Columbia to lead injury prevention in manufacturing, established the Executive Health and Safety Council of BC to elevate executive accountability, and launched Safety Meta World to transform safety training through immersive technologies, to name just a few aspects. For her presentation, she partnered up with Harrison Olajos, the founder and CEO of UP360, a Canadian immersive technology company specializing in virtual and augmented reality learning solutions. He will be here you will see how he will join us. Please join us for your speech.
Thank you, Andrea. And I hope you are as inspired as I am for this 4 days that we've had together. Lots of networks built, lots of opportunity to learn new and innovative solutions that we can all bring back to our countries and ultimately deliver impact. Galaxy Edge Safety is an organization that's all about leading on the edge of innovation. It really is how we can not only lead in the area of digital technology, but in all other areas as well. We want to be the change that we want to see in the world. And to do that takes action. I'm going to invite you to be part of that action at the end of my presentation this afternoon. As Andrea mentioned, you're going to hear from Harrison shortly through recorded discussion. So let's start. What is immersive learning? Immersive learning uses technologies like virtual reality, augmented reality, extended reality. I'm going to talk through each of them. What they do is they create a realistic and interactive environment for training, creating lifelike experiences that connect your emotional and provide that sensory engagement. Harrison is going to talk and show you what virtual reality is. It creates a fully digital world for learning, allows you to practice simulated high-risk type scenarios, and you're going to see some of that here shortly. Augmented reality blends digital information with the real world. Very valuable in health and safety, providing a step-by-step help during tasks that are really essential that we remember each of those steps. And it's shown through devices like HoloLens or smartphones. Extended reality is a combination of virtual reality, augmented reality, and other mixed reality tools. You can utilize them through team training and simulations, bringing people from around the world together with an experience and then talking about it. So why is immersive learning so effective? Well, I'm going to talk about learning paradigms, which are models that have been shaped over decades. It explains how people learn, understand, and remember information. The first model I'm going to talk about is behaviorism. People learn through practice, feedback, and doing things over and over. The key idea is we practice, we repeat, then we get better at it. You can simulate, such as utilizing a fire extinguisher from the very beginning to actual deployment, which you really wouldn't do in the real world. This is an example of an effective type of application. Cognitivism explains how people learn by organizing and remembering new information. Structure helps the brain learn more successfully. An example is providing a virtual reality guide, providing a step-by-step equipment operational procedure. Once again, you can see the information and the equipment at the same time, connecting that in effective structure. Constructivism is another type of model. It talks about how we learn through experience, not just by watching. An example of this is you can simulate an actual accident and then walk through the accident investigation in a step-by-step mechanism without, of course, having the real-world risks. Experientialism talks about how we learn by actually going through an experience. It is why when we hear stories, they can be so powerful in learning. We can actually emulate a real emergency using virtual reality, and then, of course, feel the pressures and get better at our evacuations. And finally, connectivism is another type of model. We learn by connecting with others. In a classroom, we learn from asking questions of each other. We can connect each other digitally, immersing us in that experience together through immersive learning, helping us remember. An example is doing a virtual reality group safety drill from different places in the world, but all experiencing that same level of experience together in different locations. Harrison now is going to show you the different types of virtual reality, which I think will be engaging.
Hey, my name's Harrison Olagis, and I'm the CEO and founder of a company called Up360. Lisa's probably already taught you guys a little bit about what immersive learning is. Now, I'm going to take this opportunity to show you firsthand what that looks like. For the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to focus exclusively on virtual reality and what an average user might experience when it comes to using the tech for education and training. Now, I'm going to show you two different types of common virtual reality. I'm going to show you 3DOF VR, and I'm going to show you 6DOF VR. 3DOF VR, or 3 degree of freedom virtual reality, is typically filmed with a specialized camera and is able to capture a spherical image or video of the world around, which means when the user gets the headset and puts it on, they're able to look around them, but they're not actually able to walk forwards and backwards. Now, this is what that experience looks like when you're in the headset. So, as you can see by that example, it's real life footage that somebody's actually able to experience in the headset, giving them that ultimate sense of presence and letting them feel like they're really there. But the biggest drawback with this type of VR is you're not actually able to interact with that world because it's pre-recorded. The other type of virtual reality, 6DOF VR or 6 degree of freedom VR, is usually computer generated and actually allows you to interact digitally with that virtual world. Now, users can do this with the use of controllers. In the example I'm going to show you, a welding example, it's built in a completely computer-generated environment that was developed by game programmers and 3D artists to simulate what it's like to weld. Now, 6DOF VR is great because you can simulate a lot more complicated tasks and allow people to really develop the muscle memory needed to perfect something before they go and actually practice it in real life. The other awesome benefit of 6DOF VR is that you're able to measure absolutely everything the user is doing so that you know when they're truly competent and when they've really memorized those skills. So you can see by that example, 6DOF VR is a lot more complex. Now, the biggest drawback of 6DOF VR is really just the cost to produce it. It takes a lot longer and a lot more money, but the end result is truly stunning.
So Harrison's given you some indication of the benefits. I'm going to add to that. The first being really the powerful increased knowledge retention and recall. And there's lots of credible research to really support that. It's crucial in safety training, especially where forgetting a particular place in a procedure can have serious consequences. It really is able to activate multiple senses. So what it does is improve memory encoding. Another benefit is provides a safe exposure to high-risk scenarios. It enables workers to experience dangerous environments like confined space, which you couldn't emulate in real life when you're working through that training. So again, another significant benefit. The third is just the improved engagement and motivation. You can't move forward in this training without being engaged. So it really does maximize engagement with this type of training. It also allows faster learning of a skill. With that repetition and hands-on realistic context, it really is and provides the opportunity for the learner to be that further ahead when they practice or they are actually put on that real equipment. It's essential too as well in operational decision making when they do have that skill already practiced in a simulated environment. And then of course, it allows for standardized, repeatable and scalable training. Immersive learning modules really ensure consistency in delivery and evaluation. These are some of the benefits, and now Harrison is going to show you 3 different applications that have been successfully deployed in Canada.
Now that Lisa has taught you guys a little bit about the benefits of immersive technology, I'm going to show you some real world examples of past projects that we've worked on and what they meant for health and safety education. So the first example is a simulation we developed to allow people to practice and train on a heavy piece of equipment, specifically an excavator. Now this simulation was designed for people who have never tried an excavator before, and it gave them the ability to practice and learn the controls in a safe environment. And it was a kind of a twofold experience. One, it let people get a sample of what a career was like. And then for people who were really interested, it let them kind of pre-develop their skills before they actually went in and enrolled in these programs. Now, this example is great because you would never in a million years allow a young person with no training on a heavy piece of equipment. But how do we get them ready to try that piece of equipment for the first time in real life? Well, virtual reality allows users to simulate these complex real-world tasks. The next example we're going to look at is simulating complex and dangerous environments for a general construction hazard awareness training tool we built. This tool was deployed to over 1,000 participants across the province and allowed us to give people that site safety orientation without putting them on a real site. And it also allowed us to test and measure their aptitude with the tool specifically. The third and final example is this power engineering simulation we built with a consortium of colleges in North America that teach the power engineering program. In this experience, we actually let multiple participants join up in the same environment at the same time. And what's really cool about this simulation is that we were actually able to simulate things like gas leaks or faulty lines in these power engineering facilities virtually that most power engineers will maybe only see once or twice in their lifetime. So these are just a few of thousands of potential use cases of virtual reality.
So extraordinary benefits that provide the opportunity for really effective learning. I'm now going to walk you through some of the challenges to adoption, but also importantly, strategies to overcome them. So as Harrison alluded to, the high startup costs are one of the challenges. They do require a higher upfront investment, which can be especially challenging for small organizations. A potential solution is partnerships. So working together through partnerships, they can pool their resources and be able to access this type of technology. The second challenge is the potential for limited technology capacity. Some organizations just lack the internet speed or the equipment or technical support for immersive technologies. But these gaps can effectively be overcome by, again, partnerships is one of them. In Canada, we have programs to support digital support for small companies and access to technology. Other countries may have other similar type of programs. The third challenge that has also a potential strategy to overcome it is just the resistance to change. We can't expect everyone in an organization to embrace technology as we do or is as enthused with new opportunities with technology. So it's very important that we have effective change management strategies in place to bring those that are least comfortable with technology along with us. Of course, then, with immersive learning, we do collect sensitive information, including user behavior and body movements. So it's very important that we have a strong policy and cybersecurity programs in place to make sure that they are not only delivered and developed, but enforced. And finally, ensuring in developing and designing immersive learning It's not just through technical experts. We have to make sure that we have subject matter experts as well as curriculum developers all working together. Again, this is a potential challenge, but a very straightforward solution to overcome. So now I'm just going to provide a few glimpses of what the global adoption of immersive learning is in health and safety. In terms of market share, North America is actually at 35%, still a long ways to go in garnering 100% with such an effective tool. Asia Pacific at 28%, but I will say the growth in this area in Asia Pacific is very fast. Europe at 25%, and of course we have early adopters elsewhere around the world. I'm going to close this segment after a few closing remarks with Harrison sharing a glimpse of the future of immersive learning.
So Lisa probably gave you guys a good broad overview of what the future of immersive learning looks like. For me, there's three key things that you're going to want to remember. One, the hardware that is the size of maybe a scuba diving mask today is going to get smaller and smaller to the point where it just becomes like a pair of glasses you might wear for reading. These glasses are going to be more powerful than the most powerful laptops or smartphones, and they're going to enable everything from virtual reality all the way through to extended reality. You're going to be able to do everything you can do on a laptop or a smartphone today in these glasses. And when that becomes possible, everybody's going to have a pair. This mass adoption is going to mean it will be exceptionally easy for organizations to deploy new immersive learning content across all of their employees quickly and at a reduced cost. The second thing that's coming, and it's something that we're already using in our company today, is leveraging AI in the development pipeline. Some of these text generative tools or some of these AI-driven tools that assist in coding and development is making it a lot quicker today to do the programming than what we could do even a year ago. And in 5 to 10 years, these tools are going to get so good, we're going to be able to develop simulations in a matter of weeks or months where things can take months or years today, which means it's going to become a lot more cost effective to deploy virtual reality across all different verticals of your organization. And then the third and final thing is AI is going to be leveraged within the simulation itself to make that simulation adaptive and make that simulation harder or easier for participants going through it. And what this means is that the learning we're going to be able to deliver will be far more effective. As these 3 points come online and come to fruition, any organization that's not using immersive learning is going to have a really difficult time making their training initiatives cost effective and attracting the next generation of learners into the organization that are going to be so used to using this technology every day. When it comes to using virtual reality and health and safety, you want to start looking at that technology today.
So immersive learning has extraordinary opportunity to train and be an excellent tool to educate our next generation and our current generation of workers. We know that there are costs associated with that. So finding solutions to get this technology to more people is really one of the areas that I'm focused on working towards. I'm inviting you to join the global movement with me to help bring immersive learning to the world and transform culture and behavior, because our goal to build stronger, safer communities worldwide is definitely one of our passions as well. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I look forward to the moderated conversation later.
Thank you, Lisa, for this really, I think, comprehensive overview of the opportunities and challenges involved in immersive learning, and also your thoughts about, the challenges. I think we can learn a lot and also transfer to, other new technologies. So, and please also pass on our thanks to Harrison for his intervention. So, with all the benefits that the digital transformation of the workforce brings, the term industrial or cybersecurity comes up again and again. And our next speaker, Jonas Stein, will highlight this topic now into more detail. So Jonas is the section manager for industrial security at the Institute for Occupational Safety and Health of the German Social Accident Insurance. There he leads the Industrial Security Testing Laboratory, and he also leads the Security Working Group. So the floor is yours.
Good afternoon and konnichiwa. I want to present you today a video that I have never shown before. I advertised it in the session this morning. We will see an attack on a steelwork and how it really looks. Because it's such an abstract topic, how can we imagine what an attack on industrial site looks like? So let's have a look into this. First of all, I want to share a story with you from a friend of mine. He's a security researcher, and he later, we will understand why, brings us to this headline and this topic. He found a security issue in the company and wanted to report it. And he did not know who to tell this. And he's a very responsible person. He knows now there's a really critical thing. And he is in this not so nice situation that he cannot find out who to tell this. It makes no sense to tell the police about security issues or the fire department. And if you send an email to the info@email address, this is what he did. He got then the response from the public relations manager that there is no problem. They wrote, "There's no problem in our company, everything's safe, don't be scared." And he wrote over and over again for 6 months. And finally, after 6 months, the message arrived at the right person in the company. And they were so glad that they offered him a permanent position, and he's still working there today. And this is a situation where we can learn from it, because every company wants to have these smart people. And if a person can find these issues and is so loyal that this person will not sell the issue to bad guys, not selling them on the black market, not using them for some nasty tricks for themselves, that's the best letter for application. That's the best applicant for a position. So you as a company want to get these people and want that they can report things directly to you. If they report it to the wrong person, and this person in your company is already discussing all these things in the canteen, and they are discussing it at home, and they are discussing it in the bar in the afternoon, then good night. So they were lucky that they found it out, fixed the problem, and we need now to look into that, how to find a solution, how to communicate better. And here we see what could happen if the message wouldn't arrive at the right person fast enough. This is a video of the hacker group that has its roots in Israel, and they attacked a steelwork. And look closely at the person running away. It's a furnace melting with very strong electricity here. You see the melting pot on the right side, person walking around. I'm not sure if you can see it in the background. So there are persons running around, and now things start to get crazy. And they're running away, but there's still a person in the bottom and in the cellar of this area. And now you can see, if you're not too far on the back, and you could see that they were running through the sparks of the liquid metal, and it was extremely close. The hacking group said they tried not to hurt people, only to destroy things. And it was also reported that nobody was killed. But you can imagine that was really a close catch. It was very, very close. And if you get hurt by liquid metal, it's really nasty. So these are things that are not just an abstract idea for a science fiction movie. This is happening. This incident happened in 2022. We had an attack in Germany. It was 2013 in Ruhrgebiet on a steel mill. And the current situation globally amplifies that we will have more and more attacks. And I think we will emphasize all these things in our roundtable. Now, the question is this a single problem from steelworks? Are there only 2 steelworks in the world that have this problem, or is this a common problem? Because if there are only 2 events, then we shouldn't invest too much money and too much energy into that. But if it's very common and affects many, many companies, then it's an imminent problem and we have to fix that. So the Institute for Occupational Safety and Health made a survey, and we asked about 100 companies. And we asked them, do you have machinery or controllers which are networked or have an interface over radio communication? And about 20% answered, no, we don't have any. Let's say if you have just a bakery and you're baking bread or you're a butcher, that's possible, right? It was about 20%. Then we have 34% who answered, yes, we have controllers and there is a network and things are linked, but nobody can be injured. For example, there's only a photocopying machine or there's only a coffee machine. I'm not so sure how dangerous it is if the coffee machine doesn't work anymore, but it's not the topic here. And then 43% answered, we have controllers linked, it's in a network, and injuries are possible. So we have to remember 43% of the companies, if a hacker is clever enough, he can injure people immediately. So I think we should focus on this topic much more. And now we have a few key questions. Where to report security issues? That's now our question to solve. And this is often unclear, especially in small and medium enterprises. Nobody was ever assigned. They the computer guy is working at the CNC machine in the morning and repairing the printer in the afternoon. And nobody ever decided who is now responsible for any security things. They never thought about that. And it is also not visible to external persons. If I have a big company, who should I send an email to? If it's, let's say, Bosch or Siemens, who knows who to send it to? It's an international company. You have no chance. And also, it is confidential. If everybody in the canteen is talking about it, that's not good. And there's a very good solution. And I want to advertise the solution. And also the Japanese government advertises this. Also now the German government advertises. We have security institutions by the government. In Germany it's called BSI, and they support this too. And we already convinced many global players like Google, Siemens, Bosch, also SICK is on board, Pils, and many, many more who already provide the security TXT. What is that? It's a very small file. And this small file has an emergency contact. And the file is placed on the same position of the website on each website in the world of each company. So as it's always on the same place, all governments in the world, all security researchers know where to look for it. And as it is so important, we prepared a movie for this. And when we talk about communication and want to improve communication, then it's also important to provide this movie in different languages, because a complicated topic can only be transferred in a language that is either the mother tongue or you can understand it very, very, very good. If it's a foreign language, how can you understand a new topic properly? And we have translated this from the German language, not only to English, also Japanese, French, and more languages coming up And if you want to have this movie also in your language and it's not provided yet, just leave me a note, and perhaps you can provide the translation for a subtitle as a start, and then we can look forward to audio file too. So now let's have a look into the movie. We will listen now to the version with the Japanese audio. And for the people not understanding Japanese perfectly, they have the English subtitle.
セキュリティの脆弱性を持つ産業用制御システムは危険です。これらは設計やプログラミングのミスによって引き起こされます。エラーは全く異なる制御システムにも影響を及ぼす可能性があります。例えば、複雑な産業用システムから工作機械や空調システムまでです。ネットワーク化された産業用制御システムへの攻撃は、経済的な損害を与えるだけでなく、従業員の健康にも影響を与える可能性があります。セキュリティの脆弱性は迅速に発見し、解決する必要があります。現実には致命的な脆弱性が発見されても、社内の誰に責任があり、誰に通知する必要があるのかが明確でないことが多いものです。これが明確になるまでセキュリティギャップは存在し続けます。プラントや機械は脆弱なままです。したがって全ての会社は固定した連絡担当者を任命し、その連絡先の詳細が簡単に分かるようにすべきです。国際規格 RFC9116 は簡単な解決策を提供し、無料で利用できます。この規格では security.txt という名前のファイルを定義しており、標準化された場所に保存され、人間も機械も読むことができます。このファイルのアドレスは世界中のセキュリティ研究者や監督機関に知られており、緊急時にはすぐに取り出すことができます。会社のウェブサイトには悪影響はありません。迅速なアクセスはセキュリティ管理の重要な要素です。
Yeah, this 120-second short movie is aimed for the CEO or decision maker in the company, because engineers always tell us, yeah, I'm convinced that's a very good idea, we should do this, but how should I tell this my boss? Because he has to decide, and I'm not able to explain it properly, can't you prepare something? And as soon as he says, okay, go, then I can do it. And it's so simple, just takes 5 minutes. We provide a ready-to-use generator on our website where you can just put in the data and it's formatted in the proper standard. And after a few minutes, it's online. But the decision can take very long. And don't be afraid when you try to implement this in your company, and the company has more than 2 people, then it can take years. If you want to implement something like this at a company like Google, that can be 2 years, 3 years for a decision, because first you have to decide who is allowed to decide this. And that can take time. Don't be afraid, just try it. And as a good start, what you can immediately do in your company is to find what are simple low-hanging fruits to fix on your website. And this is another tool I want to give you now here for free at hand. You can try it on your smartphone. You can do it when you're back home. There's a website by the Dutch government. It's called internet.nl. Easy to remember, right? And just to be sure, I provided a QR code for you. And also on the LinkedIn announcement about this session, there are the links for all pages and the comments. You open this website, and then there's one field. I point it here with a laser. There you enter just the domain name of your company domain. And then this website will run a lot of tests on the web server. And it will not only say what is broken, but also give a very good explanation why does this website believe that it's not good and how to improve it. So if you have this list, then you can immediately pass it over to the IT department and they know how to improve your website. You can't get anything fixed easier and with less effort and have very big benefit from it. And one thing that you will very likely find out is that IPv6 is broken. This is a modern internet protocol. IPv4 was the old one. And from my experience, more than 50% of all websites that I tested have a broken IPv6. This item is not security critical, but for the company very bad because nearly half of all mobile connections are routed over IPv6, and that means they cannot visit your website properly. And that's a very good argument when you want to go into discussion with your team leader and the company and want to say, well, it's good to use this tool. You have immediately a benefit because you will pay for an expensive website to be found and not to be broken. And the next items we have here, I just ran on the GISHW website this test. And we see the website of this conference has 49% of 100, and there are some security issues. So the first here is it's not working properly with IPv6. This is due to wrong name server configuration. The next is the domain name is not signed with DNSSEC. A bit more critical, but very easy to fix, is HTTPS is not set up properly. And when you scroll down and look then in the details, then you find out that the security TXT that we explained earlier is missing. And this tool can be used afterwards when you have set up your security TXT to test if it's working properly. There are some things, for example, it could be that you miss a space somewhere or write the date format wrong or things like that because you didn't use our generator. If you use our generator, you can expect it's 100% perfect. But if not, some mistyping and then it's broken. But this tool will detect it for free for you. And up to today, I trusted this page because it was supported by the Dutch government. Yeah, what else do? We have several initiatives to make machinery safe and secure again. And first of all, we have hands-on manufacturer seminars because I believe endless PowerPoint slides with stock pictures do not help anyone. We need the hacking tools, and all the engineers must sit on the table in small groups with a Kali Linux and then hack these things and really learn how to fix bugs. We make entropy analysis, we hack cranes, we look at remote controls. And only if you put your hands on, then you learn, not by just sitting there and having a nice dinner afterwards. Then we are contributing to European legislation by working in the European Guide for the Machinery Regulation. And also we are active in international standardization. And then we distribute the movie for the security TXT and try to boost it all over the world. Because security isn't solved in St. Augustine in Germany in a little town. It's a topic where we have to work together worldwide. And one very nice aspect in the security TXT is that you can assign what is your language that you understand. Not only the context, but also what is the language. If I want to report something to a French company and I write them in German, well, what should they do with it? It's in the spam folder. And with this information, you have everything at hand, know what language, who to contact, and you can also add information like, do we want to encrypt or whatever. So, no negative sides. We come to the summary. We found out that 43% of all companies that we asked have devices that are hackable in theory. We didn't try, but they are networked and can injure people, perhaps even kill. And I want to advertise this test website. That's a no-brainer, quickly run, and you have a nice overview on your own company website, internet.nl. And I want to motivate you to act now and create your security TXT. And for our Japanese audience, JP Cert CC, which is here for Japan, the security institution from the government, has a block entry where they support highly to have a security TXT. Having this emergency contact saves a lot of the resources. So then you have the QR codes for the movies. And if you have any further questions, you can take a picture of the contact and ask me later or in the round table. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jonas. This was very inspiring. I think you all have a lot of questions, and you can stay here because we have a lot of questions to you and the other speakers. And so we will start now our roundtable with our moderator, Lisa McGuire. And we'll talk about several questions, and all the other questions can be talked about after the session.
Yep.
So, yes.
Thank you. I think I'm sitting.
Yeah, you can sit here and.
Oh. Sure. Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, camera.
12 minutes. Great.
Just sit there. Yes.
Got a quick.
Yes. Can use this microphone. Yeah. Okay, it's fine.
I think there's the questions on the screen, right?
Ja, können Sie zwischen auch weg. No. Ja.
Harrison is sitting
Oh,
there.
Harrison, that's right.
Yeah, they will come.
Are we ready? Perfect. Well, what an extraordinary panel with diversity in terms of talking about digital security and cybersecurity, which are critical, and of course, smart manufacturing. Oh, Mike. Okay, I'll be closer. Sorry. What an extraordinary opportunity to have such a diverse panel talk about some interesting questions. I want to start by really reflecting in the world that's impacting businesses and people. We know how difficult climate change has been and extraordinarily challenging with some of the consequences that happen all around the world. We also understand there's been challenges related to just change in government policy and trade policy that has impacted businesses and people. So my question, maybe starting with you, Jonas, is how can digital safety technologies really help companies adjust and succeed in this ever-shifting global climate?
Yeah, we see, for example, at the moment, one movement, there was one single point of failure with our database for vulnerabilities. There was only one big database for the whole world. And due to political changes in that country, the financing wasn't sure anymore. And at the moment, they can only afford the finance of the server till the end of this year. And then it's unclear how we continue with the server. And this is a boost for other countries, or for example, also Europe, to build up their own server for vulnerabilities. And we must be more resilient and should always spot if there's anywhere a single point of failure.
Well, absolutely. I think, contingency planning, I think that is going to be really critical. That includes in integrating health and safety right, as you say, within the business strategy itself in preparation. I think that really is important. And we've heard that from the leadership over the past 4 days, that important connection of health and safety and business strategy to protect and secure our data is critical. Otto, what are your thoughts on this question?
Well, I think that we have a wonderful chance to use our modern technologies and to gather all the information that we get to reduce the uncertainty in the workplace, to make machines and production safer. But the basis for this will be that we can rely on those data, that we can rely on those informations, on recipes, on instructions for actions like, example, opening the furnace in the steelwork that we have seen. And for this, cybersecurity is absolutely point number one. If we solve this problem, then we can tackle the next steps. But building something on a very weak base, not having sufficient cybersecurity systems, and not only the systems to prevent the attacks, but also the systems to recover from attacks. This will cause a lot of problems in industry. We have to tackle these problems, and therefore cybersecurity is a condition without not.
Yeah, digital technology can also certainly be very valuable for businesses to help support them. We've seen how they can improve efficiencies, which allow for more time for businesses and people within them to spend on things like effective communication plans. We know that when change happens outside of our control, how challenging that is on people. And we know about the psychological impact that has on people. So one of the opportunities we have with digital technology is to include psychosocial related training right within immersive learning, as an example. How do we build resilient workplaces? It's with using technology that can help support some of those solutions to build a more resilient workforce. So with businesses, you want to have strong contingency plans to prepare for those cybersecurity attacks, because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and you need to make sure you have those tabletop exercises in place so that you're prepared. And we also have to ensure we prepare our people, right? So that they can be more prepared than just be surprised, which we know is not an effective strategy. So let's move on to the next question that really talk about some of the potential barriers or challenges stopping businesses from using digital tools in health and safety. There's all kinds of really innovative solutions. I think this event has been extraordinary at bringing a lot of those opportunities for us to test and see. So do you have any thoughts on that, Jonas?
Yeah, also I would say one of the biggest problems is the trust. And if you have a new tool and you're a big company and you don't know the source code of it, and you are asked to connect this with your whole facility, then you know that you can be bankrupt if there's a backdoor. And currently we have a big problem that many countries in the world try to force companies secretly to build in backdoors in products. And this is a very big problem. The manufacturers try to get rid of this, but if the country forces them to do it, they have no chance. And even there are countries that pay people to work in the companies as a silent hacker inside, and then you have an insider implementing backdoors. And no manufacturer wants backdoors in his own products, and it's a really bad thing. Currently, there is in Germany a vote, and in Europe is a vote, and Germany is against these backdoors. It's about communication protocols, and they decide now whether communication protocols may be encrypted in future, really, or if the encryption should be artificially broken so that the good guys can always look in. But everybody knows if the good guys have a backdoor, the bad guys aren't silly and they will find the backdoor also. And that was what the history showed us always. And I think that's the biggest problem. And we can see right now a change to more open source. We've been recently on conference about safety technology, and manufacturers more and more concentrate on the hardware,
Yeah.
And the tooling around, especially for the network security, is more and more open source. And that's also saving resources. Because if you count in Germany, one worker consumes about 11,000 tons of CO2 per year. And it can only work productive for, let's say, 1,700 hours. So if you do the math and you find out about 6 kilogram carbon dioxide per working hour, if you now develop software and throw it away, then you have thrown carbon dioxide away. Everybody looks at hardware when it comes to saving resources, but also software. We need to save resources to save the planet.
Yeah, there's a lot of solutions, and really, I know in Canada and actually North America, we have what's called the NIST framework. It's a management system for IT and cybersecurity, which is really becoming more popular, because if you want to manage, these risks, which are becoming more complicated successfully, solutions for business is to consider investing in a system. I now want to invite Harrison to talk a little bit about challenges, potential challenges for adoption in immersive learning, but also consider solutions. Just one moment. We're connecting the video.
From my perspective, there are three main challenges preventing businesses from using digital technology in health and safety. And these challenges aren't just specific to the health and safety sector, but are agnostic to all organizations looking to adopt the technology. The first two challenges are cost and content availability. And now these two challenges are slightly related. Cost for the hardware. The hardware can be expensive and is definitely a barrier, especially for smaller or medium-sized businesses. But then also the cost to produce new content is also prohibitive. Some content, some projects can cost millions of dollars to produce when you're building very specific, very niche, very customizable simulations. And even on a good day, content can sometimes cost $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, even when you're producing less interactive video-based training content. So cost is definitely a challenge, and then it also contributes to the lack of available content out there. Now, these two problems will be solved with time. The hardware is going to get more accessible. The tools to produce content are going to get better and better, meaning it will be cheaper to produce content, and also meaning there'll be a lot more content available. But the third problem, the biggest problem that is not going to go away with time, is change management. Like all new technology, implementing these types of tools can be challenging. Getting team members on board, getting them to use it consistently, getting them to implement it and really use it for the purposes that you're wanting them to use it for can be difficult. More often than not, we've seen organizations invest hundreds of thousands of dollars into hardware and into these solutions, and oftentimes they end up on a shelf collecting dust if they're not met with the right champion. So to solve this problem, we always recommend that organizations really find the champion that can drive the technology within the organization and look to get people just using it frequently. Even if that means letting staff play games or do meditations or do things with the tech outside of its intended purpose, the more they're going to start using the tech, the more they're going to start loving it. Even if it's not for health and safety out of the gate, the more they'll end up using it in the actual workplace for the intended use.
So it's really important to understand the challenges when we are implementing any type of new technology. And, thank you for sharing those benefits of understanding the challenges with us. So the last question I'd like to ask our panelist here is really now looking into the future. With so much opportunity for technology and innovations, what are you most excited about in terms of a health and safety technology solution that's being developed today? Otto, can you share your thoughts on that?
Yes, the most exciting thing that I can foresee at the moment is the future combination of the data that we gather from the different data sources that we will have, even if it's the simple thermostat in a building or measuring the light intensity in a room or even the noise, and gathering all this information and intelligently apply this information that we have in order to reduce the risks. A very simple example, we have a lot of automated guided vehicles worldwide. They are mostly used in storage areas, in facilities, transporting goods from A to B. And the typical situation will be in the crossing of two narrow aisles. An AGV is nearing to the crossing, but a person at the same time. So we don't have any chance physically to prevent such a collision with sensors mounted on board of the AGV, because no physical system can look on the edge. So even if we use radar, if we use LiDAR, if we use ultrasonics, this will be impossible. It's a situation you know from the kid walking or jumping between two cars in front of your car when you're driving in a residential area. When this kid jumps just 10 centimeters in front of your car, you will not be able to prevent a collision. But if we can implement the information where the persons are, where the vehicles are, we can even control the vehicles in such a way that they stop, knowing that it seems that there is a person nearing the crossing. And such simple situations, dozens, hundreds, thousands of them in different, I will say, applications, are things that we will able to master in the future, and we will reduce, and I guess we will reduce accidents in machinery. If we use this technology wisely, we can reduce the accident rate by 20 to 30%.
Wow.
As we have now.
You know, I think the future is very exciting, and it's wonderful to embrace a technology that's really going to change lives on the front lines. I want to thank the panelists, Otto and Jonas. That's all we have time for. And of course, Harrison, that couldn't join us in Eastern Canada here on site. And welcome back our chair. Thank you.
So once again, a big thank you to Lisa for hosting this roundtable, and of course also to Otto and Jonas and Harrison. As we wrap up today's session, I would like to underline three aspects. First of all, the use of digital technologies offers diverse and great potential for occupational health and safety. In order for these technologies to be used in a targeted and in a sustainable manner, it is important to identify areas of application that offer workers real added value. And with all the advantages, however, industrial security must be taken into account, which is why prudent and well thought out application concepts are crucial. And what was mentioned, I think, several times here is that we need more data, more research, and also more metrics. So we hope that you are leaving this session with fresh ideas, with deeper insights, and a renewed sense of purpose in making workplaces not only smarter, but also safer. And again, I would like to thank our outstanding speakers, Otto Görnemann, Lisa McGuire, Harrison Olachos, and Jonas Stein, and all of you here today for engaging with us on this journey. Thank you also to Andrea. It has been wonderful to co-chair this session with you. And well, let's continue working together to shape a safer, more resilient digital future. Thank you.